Hey guys, Jonathan here with Techno Buffalo with my full review of Apple's 5th generation iPod Touch. It's thinner, it's faster, features the John Rettinger approved loop, and much improved cameras. But is it enough to deem it a worthy upgrade? Let's find out. Well, that was awkward, damn it, and it hit the real intro. Now, I will be the first to admit, in terms of some Apple upgrades, they aren't necessarily the most drastic in terms of change. Take example, iPhone 4 versus the 4S. There really wasn't a whole lot going on in terms of change or wow factor that really made you feel the need to have or want that phone. Now, in terms of the 5th generation iPod Touch, there's actually a whole lot of change going on, starting out with the colors. Gone is that mirror-like, scratch-prone, fingerprint-prone back that you had to worry about little Jimmy greasing up or smacking him across the head because he just scratched his new $200 toy. And in is a much improved aluminum back that comes in slate, silver, yellow, which is kind of more of an ugly gold, pink, blue, and product red, which is only available through Apple, but it does go to the support of AIDS in Africa. These come solely in 32 and 64 gigabyte capacities. If you guys are interested in checking out those colors, the best pricing and availability, that is linked down below. Now, aside from those fancy pants colors, more importantly, we now have a longer 4-inch Retina display that features the same 1136 by 640 resolution as the iPhone 5. But maybe even more important than that, in terms of actual display quality, I really couldn't tell a difference between the new iPod and the iPhone 5. Now, on the other hand, if you put the 5th gen iPod next to the 4th gen iPod, it completely blows it out of the water. You can see the 4th gen looks a little washed out, not as crisp, not as vibrant, doesn't have nearly as good a viewing angle as the new iPod. And now, when you're watching videos, the new iPod Touch features the same 16:9 aspect ratio as the iPhone 5, so you get the full image as opposed to having those black bars across the screen. Now, even though the new iPod Touch is longer and taller, it's actually thinner and lighter than the previous generation. The new iPod Touch sizes in at 0.24 inches thin and weighs 3.1 ounces, whereas the previous gen sized in at 0.28 inches and weighs a slightly heavier 3.56 ounces. Also gone is the 30-pin connector like we saw on the iPod Touch 4th gen, and in is the new lightning port like we saw on the new Nano, as well as the iPhone 5. So yes, it is definitely a little bit annoying to actually have to get adapters to use with the new lightning port, but it's actually pretty convenient not having to worry which way to plug it in, and after actually going back to the 30-pin, it does kind of get slightly annoying having to figure out which way to plug it in and kind of fumble with it. So even though it is annoying, it's not that bad, and I do like the new lightning connector. One thing that did annoy me, however, is on the volume rockers, there is no silent profile switch like we see on the iPhone 5. So if you want to actually mute the device, you got to manually turn everything down or hold it, which is slightly annoying, but it's not going to be a deal breaker, and I'm sure it's going to take you all of 3 seconds to mute it, but I just wanted to point that out for some of you guys who actually care about that. Now, in terms of internals and performance, that is also dramatically improved. We have the new A5 chip in the 5th generation iPod Touch, so performance in terms of benchmarking is nearly doubled. It features twice the RAM, so it's going to help with multitasking, and the bigger 4-inch display is actually really enjoyable as far as gaming goes. If you guys are interested in checking out this game, I'll have it linked down below. Now, in addition to a faster processor, a more enjoyable gaming experience, Wi-Fi has also been dramatically improved on the new iPod Touch. In benchmarking it and getting some tests, I actually almost doubled my performance as opposed to the previous gen iPod Touch, so there's definitely a huge difference there as well. Now I'm going to stop you guys right there because I can read your mind. You guys are saying, Jonathan, what about the loop? What is the loop? How does it work? What does it do? So what it is essentially a lanyard that attaches to the iPod Touch. There's a little recessed button that you pop out, attach the loop, and then throw it on your wrist, and it prevents you from dropping it. As silly as it seems or sounds, it actually works as advertised, and I know a lot of kids will be using this, so it's actually pretty smart to include this. That way they don't drop their brand new birthday present, and once again, you gotta smack Jimmy across the head. Now, while we're still on the loop subject, I need you guys' help. We want to put together a top 10 things you can do with the iPod Touch loop. So leave us a creative or funny comment down below telling us what you think the best thing you can do with the iPod Touch loop is. We'll pick a few, and if we do, we'll give you a shout out when we go to make that video. Now, lastly, in terms of big upgrades, we also see a drastic improvement to the cameras. The 4th gen iPod Touch did shoot in 720p, but in terms of stills, it was just a hair under 0.7 megapixels, so pictures looked horrid. So here is the previous 4th gen, taking a picture of Lucy, John R's dog. You can see it's a little grainy, washed out, and bam, there is the 5th generation iPod Touch. You can see it's clear, maximum cuteness engaged, and overall it just looks a lot better. Now that rear camera is shooting 5 megapixels to be exact, and it also does shoot 1080p video. So once again, here is the 4th generation iPod Touch shooting 720p. Here is Lucy, such an awesome dog. And now we can check out 1080p so you can see all of her awesomeness in 1080p glory. So if you guys think that looks better, let me know by hitting that like button or leaving me a comment down below. Now, in addition to the improved rear cameras, we also see a 720p FaceTime HD camera on the new iPod Touch. The 4th gen shot VGA quality. Here's a quick look at that. You can see it's cropped. It doesn't really look good at all. And for 720p, here's a shot and a look at the new iPod Touch. You can see it looks a ton better. So that pretty much wraps it up. It's thinner, it's faster, it's lighter, it has better cameras, and a drastically improved display. There's really not a whole lot to complain about as far as the new 5th generation iPod Touch. Now, in terms of battery life, I didn't really see a drastic improvement compared to the 4th gen. I got about the same performance, but when you consider you have a bigger display, a faster processor, and you get about the same battery life, that is definitely a good thing. Now, I know a lot of you guys love to hate Apple. I know there's a lot of great options in terms of smartphones and computers, but in terms of portable music media devices, I think this is hands down the best option on the market. So thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe if you have not already. If you guys enjoyed it and you are feeling awesome, make sure to go